The series later was featured in Through the Lens Darkly, a documentary that contextualizes the history of Black photography and photographers. So without further ado, let's welcome to the stage Sheila Pree. So obviously in the context of a conversation around history, rebellion, reconciliation, and communities mobilizing for social change, tell us a little bit about the work that you do and how it does that work.
First of all, I want to talk about Nina Simone.
Yes.
I say. She was saying that it was an artist's duty to reflect the time. And I think it's very important for me as an artist, a fine art photographer, to bring this to the people. And I came up with an idea in 2013, and it was inspired by Trayvon Martin. And I wanted to know what the youth were doing back in the 1960s, because I always feel that it takes the youth to make a change. And so I reached back to the elders in the 60s and found them. I found freedom riders. I started off with the Atlanta student movement because that's where I'm living at now. And I placed them on walls. You could go ahead and move the pictures. I placed them on walls in the communities. And once I did that, people in the community told me this. These are the unknowns. We know about John Lewis. We know about the famous ones, right? They said, well, nobody told us about them in our history books. So these are freedom riders. So what had happened was I wanted to get out in the streets and be on the pulse of the youth, because there is a strong disconnect through generations. And go ahead and move the slides. Yeah. And I started going out to the streets. This is up in Atlanta. There's an organization called It's Bigger Than You, and on Martin Luther King Day, they are reclaim Martin Luther King Day. They shut down the parade. You don't hear this in the media. I'm an artist that want to bring the truth, okay? Because you have a lot, I'm down on the ground. You have a lot of the media, whether they're African Americans or white, it's about the lights, the following, the sensationalism of that. So I wanted to speak. If you could go through the stuff, and this is all in Atlanta. So they took over the streets. And what these youth were talking about, the elders were yelling at them, telling them, you are disrespecting Martin Luther King. The elders said, no, we're not. I mean, the youth said, no, we're not. He would have done the same thing. We are vested in youth. Where were you clergymen? Where is our community? Why don't you stand with us? There's a very big divide. Keep going on. This is all in Atlanta. I went to Ferguson. Ferguson, I went on the aftermath, and I've photographed protests before, but I was in Ferguson in March. You should have felt the tension in the air. And they put the children in the forefront. We love our people and we will be here till we die. That's Michael Brown's father, chosen for change. You can keep going.
Nice photos.
Thank you. I try to capture what not the media captures, okay? And try to show more of a sensibility of who these people are. They're not thugs, they're not lynch mobs, okay? And we went to the police station and move on. And what's really interesting, I've been in Baltimore, they got a fine for riding on the car. And this is Michael Brown scene. You can see the sternness, the confidence in his face, whether other people think it's defiance. I was here for Freddie Gray. I was down in West Baltimore, and when I went down there, I'm an outsider, even though I'm African American. They didn't want us to be there. They didn't want the media or me to be there. I started photographing the houses. A woman looked at me and said, don't you photograph my apartment? And I started talking with her and asked her why. She said, we have people that look just like you that come down into our community and say, well, we're going to do this and we're going to paint this kind of picture. But when we see it, they all picture us like we're all on drugs. We're out of control. We are angry. So we talked, and I explained to her who I was. She kind of relaxed. But then she asked me for money. And I said, ma'am, I don't have any money. But I said, I can give you a hug. I hugged her, and she had tears in her eyes. I don't know what made me do this, but I had tears in my eyes too. And after that, I went over to where they were protesting. You see the cops and stuff. But my whole point is this, with this body of work, I'm trying to bring generations together, because with the youth, they do not feel that the elders are understanding them or want to understand them. And what it is that the elders had their time. They need to step aside and listen to the youth.
So let me ask, in the context of the famous black photographers we know about, James Van, Gordon Parks, who are some of the icons that you pull from, and what are some of the movements that have inspired you to take your craft to this next level of political activism?
Actually, it was the Black Panther movement. It wasn't Gordon Parks, actually, and he actually photographed a lot of that, and a lot of that, his stuff is on travel now, in which they never showed a lot of that work because he didn't want to show it at the time, okay? But what it showed was we could use the media, especially social media right now, because that's what the youth is doing right now, is to show this imagery. People need to see this imagery. We don't need to always show in the media how it's sensationalized. When I was down on the ground 2 days ago, the media is constantly all up in their face like this. And so what you see on TV is them cussing out, okay? But they're already angry. They don't want you in there because you're not telling the truth. When I was in Ferguson, they took the flag up and held it over Fox and was saying, get out. We're not going to let you film. But then we have other folks that are in our culture will go talk to Fox and turn and twist it around to make us look bad. So my inspiration is I think we need all that noise. And they don't need to stop, because if not, there's not going to be a change. Think about the youth in the 1960s and what they had to do. The elders told them back then, don't do this. And they were losing their lives behind it. And the elders are telling them, you guys don't know what you're doing, you're not strategizing, you're not organizing. So where I draw my inspiration from is the Black Panther Party and liberation, because they're chanting a lot of times when I go to these protests, they chant Asante. It is our duty to win. Right, come on, say it.
It is our duty to win.
Right.
We have nothing to lose but our change.
Right. And we have to start having within our community, that I believe, more compassion, okay? And stop looking the other way or looking down. We have to try to understand and stop talking to each other, but really listen. So I don't know if I went off in the temple.
No, that's it. Because I think, what's left for history is the images that are remaining